emotions going into 4th of Wales.
Yeah.
Can you describe your emotions going into it? And
3rd with Wales, isn't it?
3rd of Wales, yeah. But another World Cup. And can you just describe what it means coaching well at a World Cup?
Yeah. This is my last one, and so I'm looking forward to it. There's a little bit of edge at training today. There's a bit of niggle, and to me that's always a good sign because the players know that a game's coming pretty close. And Alun Wyn said, "Look, we're chomping at the bit at the moment. We can't wait for Monday night to come along." So I said that niggle at training, and I said to the players at the end of the training, "Look, we've had our warm-up games, but we're in competition phase now, and that's when we thrive. And we're Grand Slam champions. We went 40 or how many in a row unbeaten, and that was because of the way we'd prepared, mentally how tough we were, our game management, and I thought today there was that edge that I think I'd like to think from that and from the experience that we'll hopefully go out and deliver a good performance on Monday.
Of the World Cups you've been part of, there's been lots of ups and downs. Is this week, with all that's happened, being one of the toughest for you personally?
Look, I think, and Alun Wyn Jones made a good comment to everyone. Said, these things happen. We lose players and things, and the wheel keeps turning. You've just got to move on. And it's been tough, and the first few days, but you've just got to then, like I said, draw a line in the sand, and you've got to focus on what your role is and what your job is. And I know a number of players and staff have reached out to Rob because I think the biggest thing that we can do is offer him as much support as we possibly can. We can't change what has happened, but it's important that we do provide as much support, and I think that's important. And there's a lot of good people out there, and a lot of good people that have reached out to Rob to offer support. So that's pleasing. But like I said, can't keep referring back to that. That's done. We can't change what has happened, and for us now, we've got to just really focus on the next couple of days, and then hopefully things go well for Monday, and then we build up to Australia.
Warren, this is the oldest Welsh side that's ever started a World Cup game. How much confidence does that give you?
Yeah, I did. Luke only told me that before 5 minutes before coming in here, so you probably the average comes up a little bit. Look, that's when you get to that sort of stage, and you know this wasn't a mistake. When you're thinking about cycles, and for us it was a couple of cycles about players, and can you get them through to a World Cup where you think you can compete, and you think you've got the right age profile, the right experience in a side with some quality younger talent coming through for the future. And so at the moment we think that profile is an experience, and the number of caps given with the firepower that we have across the side and some X factor in the team, we think we're in a pretty good place, and we know when we prepare well and train well and go out there and everything's right, we're a tough team to beat, and we're capable of beating anybody. And that's kind of the whole thing for us. We're a small nation that have punched above our weight, and we've worked incredibly hard to get to where we've got to and what we've achieved over recent years. And so for us is making sure that we go out and give our best in this World Cup and make the people at home, Wales, proud of seeing us perform and give our best.
The fact that Ross is on the bench, is that potentially with Australia in mind, or is that purely how impressed you've been with that home win?
Yeah, no, I think one of the things about Ross is, and I've had a good chat with him, like he's disappointed, but he knows he probably hasn't been where he has needed to be in a couple of games and at trainings. There's a few things for him to work. Look, he's a fantastic ball carrier. There were some things defensively last week, and we worked on changing a bit of his tackle technique, and he probably ended up on the ground a bit too much and probably wasn't involved in competing on the ball enough. I'm expecting when he does get on the field a really positive reaction from him. He's not too happy with me with him not being in the side, but I have to say, from that initial disappointment, from the chat we've had, then he's turned that around. He's been vocal at training. He's been encouraging. He's been what you'd expect of anybody, to put that disappointment behind, to say, I know what my role is, but I've also got to do whatever it takes to help these other guys prepare and the starters to prepare, and that's all I can ask for from a coach. And but I'll be pleased and interested and looking forward to see what his reaction is when he comes on the field.
And last question for me, maybe for both of you. Have you talked about the importance of bonus points on Monday?
No, we haven't spoken about that. I think for us that takes care of itself. Alun Wyn and I have had a brief discussion about that in terms of, it's probably the momentum keeping the scoreboard. So if that's 3, 6, 9, we're able to do that. If you look at all these games, the team who's the underdog, they're coming out really firing. I know we're in here at the moment, but Fiji are giving them a pretty good account of themselves against Australia and putting them under pressure. I thought Russia were really good in the first half last night as well. So sometimes it might take, particularly in the first up games where you've got so much emotion involved from both teams, it might take 50 or 60 minutes to wear a team down. So we've got to be smart in the way that we play, and if it's getting the scoreboard ticking 3, 6, 9, and if we do end up scoring a try or two, then the consideration then will become about how we approach the last 20 minutes. So it's just, we've had that chat, but the most important thing is winning the game first and then assessing how we go in terms of that. So we won't be going probably into that game, and the first, if we get a kick in front of the post, we'll probably take our 3 points. We won't be scrummaging or going for the corner. We've just got to be smart and particularly mindful of some teams further on in this competition, particularly the smaller nations, may pick up a few injuries. They may be a little bit battle worn, and that might be the opportunities to think about some of those things. But these first few games for everyone in this tournament, I think are going to be tough, and you're going to see some of these smaller nations really giving good accounts of themselves, and we've already seen that.
Warren, the players who have been picked for tomorrow, have they been told the message that if they perform, they will have the jersey against Australia, or is there longer term planning?
No, they haven't. I think they're aware of that because I've delivered that message to everyone over the last how many months, that the plan probably was to go pretty fully loaded for the first 3 games. There's 1 or 2 players that, with the short turnaround, we may make it 1 or 2 changes. But if that team gives a good performance, and I think they're well aware of that, they give a good performance on Monday night, then you've got a good chance of getting selected for the game against Australia. So I think that adds a lot of motivation for those players starting on Monday night. But we haven't actually expressed that vocally to the group. I think they're very well aware of what the position is and what the consequences are or the opportunities are.
Alun Wyn Jones 4 years ago as a professional footballer, and the Whiteheads 3 years ago. What do you see in him now? Do you still see elements of that greenness about him, or tell us a little bit about him physically and about his development?
I think you can definitely see the physical improvements, but I think aside of the scrum, you can be exposed, you can be worrying about the next job, and to see him grow. And it's funny, as an older player, you see younger players and you see them learn, and what they learn and what they retain is pleasing. I think I think it's the inner coach that I'm probably never going to be, but you see people like Wayno when they're doing the things that you tweak in, subtle things like angles of line off the back of a liner, or chat on the side of scrum, like I say. And when you don't have to tell someone twice, you know someone's going to be pretty good, and he's just kept layering on that knowledge, layering it on, and the performances are backing it up. And it's a real breath of fresh air when you get someone in the environment like that.
And physically, what's he like?
You can see for yourself. You can put a shot in. He's around the park. He does all the set piece, basic stuff really well. And ultimately, he's the foundation of his game. Is the exciting part, irrelevant of the add-ons that he's going to have as he moves through his career.
Final one from Ben in the front, please. Sorry, Gavin.
More on the Georgia scrum is obviously very strong. What else has impressed you about them and their growth?
They rely a lot on that scrum in terms of forming a foundation, and they've got some pretty exciting young 10 as well, and when they get into your 22, they're pretty clinical about the way that they go about their business. So they've been a team that I know their ambitions long term are to be potentially part of the Six Nations, and the game in Georgia has gained a huge amount of popularity over a number of years in terms of their results and success, and a lot of their players are lucky enough to, and particularly in the forwards, have had experience playing in France, and so they've gained that. So look, they've just got better and better, and their world rankings reflect that as well. And I think it's great for world rugby that we start, developing countries, particularly like Georgia, and we saw Russia last night. Some of these smaller countries having the opportunity to develop the game and make the sort of tier 2, tier 3 nations as strong as we possibly can. I think it's a real positive for the game, and I think as a nation they will continue to grow.
Thanks very much, everybody.